In the wake of COVID, tech companies have shifted from in-person conferences to online-only events. Earlier this year, Salesforce held its annual developer conference, Trailhead DX, virtually, and now the company is taking the much larger Dreamforce event online as well. Here to talk about what attendees can expect from this year's Dreamforce and what the future holds for tech conferences in general, even after COVID, I'm joined by Karin Flores, Senior Vice President of Strategic Events at Salesforce. Karin, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Bill. I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Dreamforce 2020. It's going to be all digital this year, as we're dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Trailhead DX earlier this year was all digital. So now we're just taking what happened there and upsizing it. How are you approaching Dreamforce 2020 this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So this has definitely been an interesting year, and I'm glad you mentioned Trailhead DX, which was really one of the first large programs that we, just like everybody else, took totally virtual. And I think, when I think about Salesforce, and I think a lot of people really sort of connect us with, Salesforce as a brand. We're known for our large in-scale person events, our community, the passion that we bring, the fun that we bring, the education, the networking, and the learning. So, us, like everybody else, struggled to really think about how we were going to pivot. And Trailhead DX was such a great example. Like, here we took our premier developer community admin event and really had to think about, how are we going to get it engaged? How are we going to continue this learning? And I know you had a chance to speak with Sarah Franklin earlier this year, but to me, one of the greatest sort of silver linings of this is really the inclusiveness that has come with the virtual platform and the virtual events. The barriers of travel, of cost, of time have sort of been alleviated. And with that, we've seen a surge in our attendance, and especially in our global attendance. And Trailhead DX was a great example of that. So when we started to think about Dreamforce this year, it was really challenging. Again, here is sort of the crown jewel of Salesforce, that it's the epitome of our brand and who we are and what we stand for, and bringing it to life in San Francisco. Our community for all of our customers is something that the entire company rallies around. And I think we really started to think about Dreamforce for everyone, for anywhere. And those were really kind of the first C's when we started to think about it, taking a lot of lessons learned from TDX and what they had accomplished. And, I think, especially in the beginning, as we sort of went through the summer, all of us together, I think there was a little Zoom fatigue. I think there was this sense of, how long is this going to go on for? But as time went on, we started to really think about, again, Dreamforce for anyone, from anywhere. What are the things that really matter? And as we started to think about reimagining Dreamforce, I think we came down to three pillars that you see now. One is smaller, personalized, customized content. What do our customers need to hear from us right now? They need us more than ever, and we're all about our customers' success. Number two is really our Dreamforce keynote, really allowing Mark with our customers to tell their stories, to talk about what's top of mind, to share our product innovation. And then three is the deep learning set in a myriad of situations, right? Networking, community, hands-on. So I think, as we started to think about Dreamforce, those were really the three pillars that rose to the top. And I do think that those were born out of Trailhead DX.
So, how is Dreamforce working this year?
So it's definitely new. It's definitely different. So first and foremost, the way in which it's working, that I think is really exciting, is that we have basically created Dreamforce to use, which we are personally customizing and delivering to all of our customers. And our AEs, who are incredible, are spending the time doing discovery, talking to their customers, what's top of mind. We're also sharing what's top of mind for us, our global pandemic operating model, how some of our customers are thriving and succeeding in this environment, and really thinking about their digital transformation. So first and foremost, that is what I think has changed the most and how it's working. You'll see next week, we'll be doing our Dreamforce keynote. It's incredible. I've seen it. Mark and the entire team are bringing incredible stories of customer success, which they're going to share with Bentley, with Rhode Island, with the state of Rhode Island, and with AT&T. So you'll see those next week. And then with the learning, it's a little bit different. With Dreamforce, we used to come together with, for 5 days, over 2,000 sessions. And this year we're bringing 5 broadcast channels with contents, but we're doing a follow the sun model. So you'll be able to watch DreamTX in your own time zone with your local MCs guiding you through. So definitely some differences and a new approach this year.
Can anyone register for Dreamforce 2020? So unlike in previous years where there was obviously, as you mentioned, travel involved in coming to San Francisco, a fee involved for actually attending the conference, going onto the show floor, getting into the sessions, as there are with every big tech conference. So how does it work for the attendee this year?
So there is no fee to attend Dreamforce and really those 3 pillar events. So if you go to dreamforce.com, you can sign up and you can attend the keynote, you can attend DreamTX, you can attend all of the sessions. So we absolutely made the decision this year that this was not the year for us to think about charging a fee, and absolutely meaning no disrespect for those who decided to do that. But we just really knew we had to show up for our customers and continue to provide content, education, and learning. So everyone is welcome at Dreamforce, and also Dreamforce in your own time zone. So we're definitely taking the follow the sun global approach. But absolutely, everyone can sign up and there's no charge. Dreamforce for everyone.
How have your goals for the conference changed this year versus in the past?
So that's a really interesting and a great question, because I think I can answer that really 2 ways. In some ways, our goals have not changed, right? Dreamforce has always been about inspiration. It's been about education. It's been about our community. It's been about sharing our product innovation and showcasing our values. And I don't think that that's changed. I think that's even more pronounced than ever in the way that we're going to show up. I think what has changed is we've had to really rethink our content to what's most relevant now, right? The world has changed, and we talk about this a lot, and Mark talks about this a lot, is that, we've opened a door and gone through it, and we're not looking back. And we need to think, all of us, right, need to think about our digital transformation, and we have the tools to help our customers get there and keep moving forward. So I think that is one of the biggest ways that our approach has changed, right? It has to be relevant content that's relevant right now in 2020. And that content is different than it's ever been before. And I think the second way is the personalized experiences. We knew we had to make it as easy for our customers as possible. We need to bring what is most relevant to them in the moment that they need it. So, while the core pillars of Dreamforce haven't changed and they never will, there are definitely nuances that, of course, would have to change, because 2020 is quite unlike any year we've ever had before.
So one of the things that was always really special about Dreamforce and a lot of conferences is the networking aspect of it. Those face-to-face meetings, those hallway conversations, meeting people from around the country, around the world. How are you trying to replicate that virtually this year?
Yeah, to me, that is one of the biggest challenges of virtual, and even when we think towards the future of hybrid, right? And I think that I and our team, we think of it in a couple of different ways. I don't think you can replicate it, right? It would never be the same as you, Bill, and I sitting down and having this conversation over a cup of coffee at Starbucks. But I do think there are ways in which people are engaging. And I think these small, personalized programs are really one of the ways in which we're solving for that. I do a lot of customer meetings, with 6, 7 customers at a time, where we're sharing the struggles that we're going through. We're sharing how we are solving all of those problems. And those, I think, are the moments that are starting to maybe not replicate, but a new way of us connecting. So I think you'll see that in Dreamforce. And then, of course, on the platforms, we're implementing different ways for people to network and chat and have private rooms. But I really think as a team, we're trying to not lift and shift. Again, like it's not replicating. How do we rethink it? How do we connect? And then how do we connect in the future, right? When we move into this hybrid model that we think will kind of set the path forward.
You had an experiment with Trailhead DX this year that you talked about the learning experiences that you could bring from that over to Dreamforce. What were some of the points of feedback that participants in Trailhead DX this year gave you that you incorporated into Dreamforce?
Yeah. So we are so lucky that the Trailhead community are so active, so engaging. I mean, you just really could not honestly ask for a better community who give awesome feedback, who participate. And I think we heard a couple of different things. Number one, more content. Number two, on the plus side, access for everybody. Like, this is great. We saw thousands of people register for Trailhead DX after the conference was closed, just so they could go back and engage with the content. That to me was a huge silver lining right there. Global, again, that's one of the reasons we're implementing the follow the sun model. It was such an easier way for people to participate in TDX. So we had to like take off your US blinders. We really have to think about this global. So absolutely that follow the sun model was direct feedback from our TDX community. And sort of what you were talking about, that networking connection fun piece. And nobody does fun better than Trailhead. And so you'll see a lot of different activities that we're going to be doing at DreamTX. And I don't want to give everything away, but different ways that we are getting people to engage, maybe things like virtual scavenger hunts, but all of these programs are really meant to allow people to not only take a little break, have a little bit of fun, but, communicate, network, and connect with each other.
So you alluded to this earlier, and I think it's a great place to kind of wrap up, which is the future of these events. You talked about a hybrid nature, and I think it's a really important point, which is this is an oft overused phrase, which is the new normal. I've been in the tech industry for 20 years now, in media, and before that, I was an IT pro myself. So we've heard new normal over and over and over, whether it was sort of the pervasive workplace of the early 2000s and mid 90s, whether it was Internet 2.0, whatever it is, there's always a new normal. But something does feel a little different this time, especially around digital transformation. And as we look at how sort of communication interaction is changing with COVID, I'm sure we'll go back to getting on airplanes, having those face-to-face meetings, but there does seem to be a shift or an acknowledgement that we are at an inflection point. How is that translating, do you think, or will translate into events like Dreamforce 2021, 2022, 2023?
Yeah, I think that the phrase the new normal, I like to think of it now as we're moving forward. We are on a fast cycle. We are moving forward. I don't think we'll ever work the way that we used to. And I think that's okay. I think there's a lot of lessons being learned about how we actually can learn in a virtual environment. There's a lot of pros to that. Look at what we're doing for the environment. I think people are always going to want to get on planes and be together. But I personally, and I know that our team and Salesforce, we're excited about the future. We're excited about a hybrid model because I think just like when I was talking about TDX and Dreamforce, there is sort of the inclusiveness that comes with virtual and with hybrid where you're really able to reach more people and make all this content and education available for everybody in a new way. And I think that, you know, perhaps gone are the days when everybody's in an office and we might see a more remote, and I anticipate that we're going to see that. So I think that we have to think about how are we going to develop and grow and move forward. And I absolutely believe that hybrid is the model. And I believe that hybrid is the right model. I believe it's going to be the right model for the way in which we're going to work and the way that, from a digital standpoint, the way that people are going to consume their information, right? I think that you'll see companies who maybe in the past could only afford from their budget to send 2 or 3 people to a conference. And now with a hybrid model, it's like, great, we can open this up and 50 people have access to all this education, all this hands-on learning. So I think there's this sort of democracy that's going to come with hybrid that's really, really exciting. And I think the reach and I think the ability to go global and surge faster is the future. And I know that we always say this, and I know I mentioned it, like we've gone through a door, we're going forward, we're not looking back, we're looking forward.
Well, Karin, thank you very much. I appreciate you sharing all that information about Dreamforce 2020. And I guess I'll see you online there.
I can't wait, Bill. Well, thank you. I really appreciate your time as well. And so thank you for having me. And I look forward to connecting with you virtually at Dreamforce this year.